I'm super excited to be the sitting president for tonight. Joe Marcano is absent, so I'd like to open this meeting and call it to order at 6:30 p.m., right on the dot. And item 1.2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Before we do that, though, I invited one of my students here tonight, Harmony LeLuise, and she's going to share a little bit about some things she's been working on. She attends Valley Oaks Charter School, or she just graduated from Valley Oaks Charter School in Bakersfield. And so this is Harmony. Everybody welcome Harmony.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me tonight. And a special thank you to Mrs. Narrows for inviting me. I've been learning how to make sourdough, and now I'm turning what I've learned into my own little baking business, Harmony's Bakery. It all started with my sourdough starter, Bubbly Barbara. She's kind of like a pet because I have to feed her every day. Tonight, I used Bubbly Barbara to make these sourdough blondies for you. I hope you enjoy them. And now,
So she has Bubbly Barbara blondies, and she's made some for everybody in here. She's going to pass those out to us. Thank you, Harmony. Aww. And then after she passes that out, she's going to lead us in the flag salute so we can start the meeting.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Aw.
Oh, thank you. That looks delicious, sweetheart.
Yeah. Good job, Harmony. Thank you. Harmony's Bakery, so cute. Harmony's been in my writing class for a few years, and it's just been so fun to get to know her more. I knew her.
Congratulations on your business.
I knew her back when I worked at Valley Oaks, and then she continued with me in my writing class, and so she's an amazing writer as well. All right, Harmony, thank you. You can lead us in the flag salute now.
And now, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you so much. That was perfect. Thank you, Harmony. Can we give her a round of applause?
Can't, I'm too busy eating this thing.
Bubbly Barbara. Okay, we're moving on to item 1.3, roll call, please.
Julie Beechner-Taus. Here. Joe Marcano. Mary Little.
Here.
Jose Gonzalez.
Here.
Lori Eskew.
Here.
James Robinson.
Here.
Lori Cisneros.
Here.
Thank you.
Item 1.4. Hold on. I got this. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 1.5, approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting held on July 14th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? and I need to ask for discussion as well, if there is any discussion after we approve it, right? Okay. Any discussion on any of those items so far? Okay, cool. Moving on to public comments. Do we have any comments for the agenda?
We have 4.
4, okay. Perfect.
Anastasia Hopper.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Thank you for being here. That was awesome. Sorry, I had to. Good evening. My name is Anastasia Hopper, candidate for this board in Trustee Area 3. I support the intent of this Attendance Awareness Month resolution, and I want to offer this board something more than awareness. I want to offer specific, fundable action. Last school year, 18.9% of students countywide were chronically absent, down from 24.4% the year before. The progress is real, but nearly 1 in 5 Kern County children are still missing enough school to fall meaningfully behind. Chronic absenteeism directly correlates with students falling behind in reading and math and failing to graduate high school or to graduate with higher education prospects. We cannot pass an awareness resolution in September and fail to be aware the other 11 months. So I am recommending 3 specific actions tonight. First, UV air purification in our community learning centers. Illness is among the leading cause of chronic absenteeism. I'm not standing here tonight to suggest that this board can solve the Kern County well-documented air quality and asthma crises. That is for much higher levels of government. But what they can do is recognize the simple truth that every parent in this room and watching online knows from experience. Sending children to school every fall makes the whole family sick. Schools are illness incubators, and sick children do not attend school. UVC air purifiers have documented evidence of reducing airborne illness transmission in school settings. Healthier children attend school more regularly, healthier children learn more effectively, and healthier children place less strain on working families who cannot afford to miss shifts or to care for a sick child at home. The board is preparing to approve a sale of excess KCSOS property. I am asking the board to designate a portion of those proceeds to this one-time investment that will have dividends for years to come. Second, I recommend a transportation audit that includes our homeless youth. BCSD's McKinney-Vento program provides daily transportation to homeless students and only covers 10 out of the 44 schools. KCSOS has its own homeless education program, and under the McKinney-Vento Act, every homeless student is legally entitled to transportation to and from their school of origin. I am asking this board to audit whether every homeless youth and every SPED student in our alternative education programs are actually receiving the transportation they are entitled to, and to report those findings publicly. A child that cannot get to school obviously will not have good attendance. Transportation is not a luxury. It is a legal right and an attendance intervention that this board has power over. Third, please make attendance a standing agenda item, not just in September, but follow up every month with the attendance numbers and see if we are improving or not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen Schaffhauser.
Hello, Ellen Schaffhauser here.
Good evening.
From Kern Valley, and I'm not complaining about anything, nor am I proposing anything or asking anything from you, but I do have a concern. And it starts with a question: who should decide what our children learn? And I want to begin with something I believe people across the political and religious spectrum can agree upon. Our children deserve an education that prepares them for citizenship, not an education designed to produce political loyalty. That principle matters, regardless of whether we call ourselves conservative, liberal, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or secular, or something else. And it brings us to a larger historical question. The federal government has increasingly used its authority over education to define what it considers acceptable and unacceptable instruction. In January 2025, President Trump issued an executive order titled Ending radical indoctrination, K through 12 schooling. It directed federal agencies to identify educational practices the administration considered objectionable and to examine whether federal funding could be withheld from programs associated with them. The same order revived the 1776 Commission and directed the Department of Education to provide what it called patriotic education. The department subsequently eliminated or archived hundreds of documents involving DEI and terminated hundreds of millions of dollars in grants and programs, and at the administration characterized as providing divisive ideologies. Then in March 2025, the president directed the Secretary of Education to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and returned authority to the states. Now, reasonable people can disagree about whether these policies are good or bad, but there is a deeper question we should ask. Who gets to decide what our children are taught? If the answer is government, well, Democratic or Republican government, we should be cautious because history teaches us something important. Authoritarian systems do not begin with one dramatic announcement declaring, "We are now authoritarian." They often begin with smaller changes. Control over curriculum, control over teachers, control over funding, control over which ideas are considered legitimate, and the creation of an officially preferred version of national identity. That is why I am not asking this board to reject patriotism. I'm asking you to distinguish patriotism from political conformity. A patriotic education should be strong enough to teach our children both the achievements and the failures of America. It should teach them about Declaration of Independence and slavery, about the Constitution and the people it originally excluded, about civil rights movement and the resistance to it, about religious liberty and why the First Amendment protects both the right to practice religion and the right to have not to have government-imposed religion upon us. And that is the last point. It's especially important. If we believe religious freedom is sacred, then we should protect it for every
Thank you,
child.
Ellen. I think we
Oh,
went
I'm
over a
over?
little bit.
Oh, thank you.
It was good stuff. Thank you.
All right, I have something to give you. Because the last time I was here, I gave that presentation, and everybody loved Mr. Rogers. And so I went out and I bought.
I'm so sorry, but we're way over time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Did you
gonna
want to
give
hand out
this over
something?
here and
Oh,
it can be
perfect.
for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellen.
Janine Adams.
That was sweet of you.
Janine Adams, Tehachapi. Hello, board. Janine Adams. I'm running for Area 7, and I got to meet Ms. Cisneros, Area 7, at the Elections Department, and but that's not why I'm here. Okay, I'm here to say that butts in the seat is how we pay for everything in education in California. That's why Anastasia's information is so important, not only to our students, but to all students in California. Very, very concerning. Each one of us who had a student who worked, where it was a two income earning family and had students in school, struggled to keep our students in school, but they got sick, okay? And it is a pass the germs around, and guess what? That's how they built their immunity system. Hooray! Until we got to COVID. That was no bueno, okay? That's why we had some amazing shots, and thank God we all got through it. But it's this kind of science that is so important. And this board will end up having so much input onto keeping students safe on multiple levels, including their health. That's why I'm running for this board. But the reason I'm really running for this board in the United States of America, every incumbent can only be held accountable by the voters if someone runs against the incumbent. So if no if somebody does not run against the incumbent, that means everybody believes that the incumbent is doing an amazing job. Congratulations, Julie Beechner, for having nobody run against you. Okay? It's very expensive. I'd say the same to Joe Mercano, but he's not here. Okay? I've not met him personally. I'm so excited to be running in this race. It's the American way of doing politics. Okay? And we are all part of it. We are part of the body politic as candidates, as voters. And my job is to get out there and let people know what this Kern County Board of Education does for the community. It does some amazing things. I just came to find out that Mary Little did some stuff at the Dream Center. I didn't even know that this board, funds the Dream Center. And the Dream Center has affected my family personally. And I can't get into how that happened. If you're curious, talk to me afterwards. Thank you for what you do, Dr. Mendaburo, and congratulations, nobody ran against you either. 5 seconds left. Janine Adams, Tehachapi.
Joanna Kendrick.
Good evening, board. I'm just here tonight to offer some celebratory comments tonight. The Central Academy of Arts and Technology opened our new campus at 824 18th Street on time. Yay! 220 students have welcomed that campus as their new home, and a huge thank you to board members who have been greatly supportive, encouraging, both in really practical ways, but also in your prayers and your good wishes and all of that. Also a big thank you to the city of Bakersfield, who has been incredibly supportive. Please thank your city officials. If you know any of them, they've moved mountains to make sure that this campus could open on time. In total, we welcomed over 705 students to the Central Academy of Arts and Technology this fall, with another 560 on the wait list. We are just incredibly excited about what lies ahead for us, and I want to remind you tonight that school choice matters to your community. It matters to families who are seeking something different. It matters to students who are interested in new opportunities. We have over 70 students enrolling in dual enrollment this year, taking 18 units of college credits, which is far and beyond what any other students are doing in Kern County this year. So my heart is full, yet my brain is tired, and we are just really excited for what lies ahead and all that I know you will accomplish of the board as the Board of Education and offering school choice to us in Kern County. Thank you. We know we have some loose ends to tie up. I know our CEO, Greg West, and our partners at Building Hope are working hard to tie up those loose ends, but I have all of the confidence in our team and our board, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good news.
No additional comments.
Moving on to item 3.0, actually 3.1, excuse me, CAT material revision update.
This is the update to solidify what was turned in and what Dr. Kendrick just reported about their opening. So Kimberly Graham will be reporting this out.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. As Dr. Mendaburo mentioned, I'll be sharing with you an update on the material revision request that was submitted by Central Academy of Arts and Technology, referred to as CAT. So the purpose of today's update is to clarify the current status of CAT's material revision request. Also, explain how the request has changed since its original submission. Review what has been submitted to KCSOS, and then identify next steps and future considerations. So as a reminder, this is just a summary of the requested material revision. So on May 8th, CAT submitted a material revision request pursuant to Ed Code Section 47605A4, seeking approval to revise its charter to add additional instructional facilities. Specifically, CAT requested 4 actions. First, the addition of site number 3, which is located at the First Presbyterian Church. Second, the addition of site number 4, located at 824 and 826 18th Street. Third, an amendment to Exhibit 4 of the charter petition, which is the school's facilities plan. And fourth, approval of updates to the proposed facilities and to the charter petition language to incorporate any changes in law. And I did lose my present, there it goes. The stated purpose of the revision is to provide the additional instructional space necessary to support the school's educational program and its projected enrollment, including the addition of 10th grade, which was approved in the school's original petition. Okay, so KCSOS received new information on July 14th, 2026, to the requested material revision, which stated that CAT will not be utilizing site number 3, which was First Presbyterian, for 9th through 10th graders. If it was to be utilized, it would be only for gym space and also in a limited capacity. Also, all students will be located at site number 1 and 2, which is the current site, 1701 and 1723 18th Street. Anticipating approximately 460 students in grades 3 through 10. And then site number 4, which again is at 824 and 826 18th Street, anticipating approximately 230 students in TK through 2. This slide shows an update of the outstanding conditions to site number 4. A check mark indicates that the condition has been completed. And then in red, you will see additional information on that item. So I'm just going to speak to those that are in red. CAT has obtained a temporary certificate of occupancy to educational use. It was received on July 29th, 2026. The permanent certificate of occupancy is expected this week, the week of August 10th, 2026. Also, the City of Bakersfield has confirmed that a conditional use permit is not required for this location. Here are the updates and next steps for both KCSOS and also for CAT. So KCSOS updates, we extended the deadline for CAT to submit required documentation from July 27th, 2026 to July 29th, 2026. Also on July 22nd, 2026, KCSOS provided formal written notification to the charter regarding site number 3, confirming and also documenting that the facility will not be used for grades 9 through 10. Our next steps will be KCSOS will issue formal written confirmation that the material revision requirements have been fully satisfied upon receipt of the permanent certificate of occupancy. And again, we anticipate that coming by the end of this week. For CAT, next steps would be to submit that permanent certificate of occupancy. Also submit final revised petition with all changes by August 31st. And then submit an updated school safety plan to include site number 4 by October 9th of 2026. And my last slide is future considerations for CAT. So if the charter seeks to operate in site number 3, again, that's First Presbyterian, for instructional purposes or occupancy beyond December 31st, 2026, which is when the lease ends, the charter school must notify the authorizer and submit information required for a material revision for this site. Also, for future considerations, any additional sites will require a material revision. And here's just a reminder for the timeline for submitting, which would be 90 days prior to occupancy. CAT has communicated that they are expecting to add another grade for 2027 and 2028. Okay, thank you. And are there any questions that you have for me?
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to item 4.1, consent agenda, approval of graduation diplomas.
Move to approve.
Second.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item 4.2, general business. 4.2.1, adoption of the resolution designating September as School Attendance Awareness Month. And that is in our packet. Would anyone like to read that resolution?
I can read that. That's 422, right?
It is, yes, 4.2.1, actually. 4.2.1.
Okay, let me get to it. There it is. Yes, it is. My hands are dry. Action item number 421, resolution of the Kern County Board of Education. This proclamation designates September 2026 as School Attendance Awareness Month and would encourage public officials, educators, and community members throughout Kern County to observe the month with appropriate activities and programs. Whereas good school attendance is essential to pupil achievement and graduation, and systemic approaches are needed to reduce chronic absenteeism rates in Kern County, with a focus starting as early as pre-kindergarten, and whereas chronic absence, missing 10% or more of school, which can be just 2 or 3 days a month for any reason, including both excused and unexcused absences, is a proven predictor of academic difficulty. And whereas a pupil's chronic absence is a predicator of below-level grade reading proficiency by the 3rd grade and course failure and eventual dropout later in that pupil's career, the chronic absence thereby weakens our communities and our local economies. And whereas the impact of chronic absence affects low-income pupils and children of color particularly hard if they do not have the resources to make up for lost time in the classroom. Low-income pupils and children of color are more likely to face systemic barriers to getting to school, such as unreliable transportation, lack of access to health care, unstable or unaffordable housing, and even unfair disciplinary policies. And whereas chronic absence exacerbates the achievement gap that separates low-income pupils from their peers, since pupils from low-income families are both more likely to be chronically absent and more likely to be affected academically by missing school. Absenteeism also undermines efforts to improve struggling schools, since it is hard to measure improvement in classroom instruction if pupils are not in class to benefit from the improvement efforts. And whereas improving school attendance and reducing chronic absence takes commitment, collaboration, and tailored approaches to address particular challenges and strengths in each community, and whereas all pupils, even those who show up regularly, are affected by chronic absence because teachers must spend time reviewing for pupils who miss lessons. And whereas school attendance can be improved and chronic absence significantly reduced when schools, parents, and communities work together to monitor and promote good attendance and address hurdles that keep children from getting to school. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Kern County Board of Education, thereof occurring that the board designates September 2026 as School Attendance Awareness Month in Kern County, and encourage public officials, educators, and community members to observe the month with appropriate activities and programs. By order of the Kern County Board of Education, dated 11 August 2026.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you for that. And I have a question for Dr. Mendeborough. Do we suggest activities and things that they can do, or do they have their own set of things that they work on?
Yeah, all the districts focus during this month to kind of kick off the school year. They work in collaboration with our chronic absenteeism team to really work on those students who have been identified as chronic absenteeism, and then give suggestions to districts on how they can increase their enrollment or attendance.
I like that. So if you're listening to this live stream and you're with a district and you need ideas on activities and programs, reach out to KCSOS, Dr. Mendeborough, and he will help you with that, because it is important to us that students are in the seat. So I agree with the comments that were said earlier.
I move to approve the adoption of the resolution.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome, thank you. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to item 4.2.2, approval of the resolution declaring property as exempt surplus land located at 1001 Tower Way, Bakersfield, California, 93309.
Just a brief reminder to the board, this was property that was purchased in the anticipation of Valley Oaks Charter here in Bakersfield having to relocate due to the the high-speed rail train. Since now information has come down that the high-speed rail will not be stopping at that location, they moved out to a different location in Kern County. We have decided to continue our operations at the current Valley Oaks site. And Valley Oaks is moving forward with redesigns and drawings that they had been planning on doing, but were put on hold because of this move. And they were going to use those dollars at the new site. Now that they're going to stay, they're going to be doing a nice little transformation at that current site. So we no longer need this building, and we are requesting the board to allow us to sell this excess property.
So, thank you for explaining that. That makes sense. And so the funds that come, or the from the sale, because I know that was brought up in comments earlier, will it all go to Valley Oaks, or is there, where would that chunk of money go that comes from the sale?
So the purchase of the building was done by the Kern County Superintendent of Schools office. So that money would go back into the construction fund and building fund that is here at the office, and will be used for additional enhancements to our current buildings, security enhancements, things that we are doing throughout the building, or throughout the organization. That's where those dollars will be.
That makes sense. So
It's not
basically
general fund dollars that.
designated
Yeah.
for building purposes,
Yes.
whether upgrading or purchasing or whatever.
Correct, it's a
Okay.
building fund, yes.
Okay, thank you for explaining
You're welcome.
that.
Do we anticipate that will be selling fairly fast?
We're hopeful that it will sell. There's been people who have inquired about the property before we even put it up for sale because it was empty, and so they were asking if we were considering any sale. And so it's a market that's kind of an up and down market right now for commercial property. So we're
Right.
hoping that we'll get some.
That's what was my next question. Have we had it appraised to see where we're at on that?
Yeah, we're still within the window of time of the original purchase. So we could either get about the same or maybe a little more, we're hoping. So we'll
Okay.
see how it ends up. But yeah, we're still in that window of time from the purchase.
Thank
I
you.
know Janine has her hand up, but this is not the time to speak. You had your chance during the public comments, so we'll talk after. Did you have something to say?
I will talk after.
Is, I'm sure you guys have looked at it, but is there any financial benefit or comparison to either selling versus leasing, renting, generating longer-term revenue?
Yeah, we looked at all options during that time period. Well, we looked at options even before we purchased the building of leasing or not. The market right now for lease is a little more difficult and challenging. We'd have to find the right person to come in who would like to lease the entire building. There are people that have expressed interest for little portions, but not enough to sustain like the whole building type of a environment. So we're going to try with the sale first. We have heard through realtors that it'd be easier right now to look at potential selling the building. We just don't have any need for it. We've kind of scratched our heads figuring out what can we do, keep it, not keep it, and we just felt it might be better to sell it and reclaim those dollars back into the building fund.
So do I have a motion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any further discussion? Okay, motion passes. Item 4.2.3, ratification of the resolution requesting consolidation of the election, ordering election, and requesting county elections to conduct the election. A lot of
In
elections.
summary, yeah, it's a mouthful, that's for sure. In summary, this resolution allows the election for the board seats to be consolidated into the general November election. All school districts and all entities during an election period are asked to approve this resolution. If not approved, then what happens is you have to establish a different date for your election, and then the board is on the hook for the entire election process. If you're consolidated, then you're part of the the general election type of a thing.
We have never done this before, have we?
Mhm.
We
Right,
have
yep.
Is this a
Oh,
yearly?
yeah. This is every time there's an election that comes up.
Where have I been?
Including midterm?
They may have called it something different. This is a big mouthful of
Because I
a
don't
title.
remember, I don't remember the title.
So I do have a couple of questions about the title because the agenda says ratification. Is
Yes.
there an actual ratification?
So
or is it
ratification,
just
yes.
a-
So they needed each, so Joe Marcano signed the letter stating, because it had to be back before our next
Okay.
board meeting. And so they allow ratifications,
Got it.
meaning that based on the outcome of the board, they will accept or reject the letter that comes
And
back.
that would be why it's signed August 4th.
Yes, it had
Okay,
to be
got
turned
it.
in by August 10th.
Okay.
And so they said either you call a special board meeting, or like most districts, they will ratify it,
ratify
or
it.
the board
Got it.
president will sign it, and it's ratified at their next board meeting, because there's still time between this,
November.
yeah, and in November.
And then my
to
only
either
other
take it.
thing I noted was on page 2, section C, it still has the template portion, fill in the school district. Does that need to say Kern County Board of Education?
Yes, the one that was signed, it says Kern County Board of Education.
Okay,
And
Oh, that
it's-
one, yeah,
it's-
no, that's fine. That one is there, because we're not a school district, so that leaves, it stays blank.
got it. I just wasn't sure if it had to fill in all the way, so, okay, thank you.
And we were, our verbiage here was a resolution, but it's actually a recital, which is similar to a resolution. So I just want the board to be aware of that.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
No, I did not.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item 4.2.4, approval of the consolidated application.
The document in front of you is just an annual update in regards to the consolidated application. Consolidated application is the federal application that we identify the dollars that the county office will be receiving. It's through the RISE program, based on the RISE program enrollment. And it's those Title I, Title II, Title III type dollars that are used specific for either teacher staff trainings or transportation or whatever the case may be. So that's what the annual report is. You'll see a lot of zeros in this real thick document because there's a lot of categories we do not qualify for.
And then on the remaining balance that I see, I mean, we're in the positive, 885,000 for Title I, Part D. Does that just roll over to the?
Yes,
Okay.
it rolls over.
It just is a rollover. Got
Yes,
it.
they allow us to roll it over as long as we have a plan in place for it for the following year.
Perfect.
I had a question about the second to the last page on the packet, protected prayer certification statement. Second to the last page. Did you find it? I just wondered could you explain what that is?
This allows for students to pray in public settings. Oftentimes they'll go out by the flagpole during specific times, as long as the staff member is willing to be their advisor, because they'll call it like a club, or they can just go naturally and do it on their own without it being a club. But in junior high or higher, you can have a religious club or a prayer club that allows you to go out to the flagpole or wherever they designate it, as long as there's a staff member who's eligible for it. So we always accept it and never deny it.
Awesome, thank you. Do I have a motion for that one?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any more discussion on that? Okay, motion passes. 4.2.4. Okay. Hold on. We are on to item 5.1, members of the board report on various topics. Let's start with Jim, Mr. Trustee Robinson.
I'd like to thank the Academy. No, I'm just kidding. This has been a really, really interesting month so far here in Kern County that I've seen. I'm become a bit of a joiner lately, and so over the past 4 or 5 years, I've joined a number of organizations, and there's so many topics right now that are, getting really, really close to being contentious here in Kern County. And I just wanted you to know that I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of all of them. It's truly amazing to see what's been happening, what with sanctuary cities and bike lanes. Right now, the overall political climate with regards to so many things. These are very, very interesting and tumultuous times. And I was wondering the other night just how it is that parents, teachers, if they are in fact asked to address those things, how they're addressing them with their kids. Not trying to dictate how anybody would go in ahead and talk about these things, but it does come down to, do you have any answers yourself, or are the parents out there, are the teachers out there aware of what is happening? And can they actually go ahead and address these issues in an unbiased way, unlike our news agencies, both here and nationally and internationally? Can you actually address them and explain to the children, or to anybody actually in debate, what is happening, what it is all about? I've talked with the publisher of the Bakersfield Californian, and subscriptions are down, both online and with the hard copy of the paper being delivered. As I've been reading the paper now since I got to Bakersfield, I read that paper quite a bit. And it does concern me, because there's been a lot of talk over the past few years about the divisive nature that has even made its way down into our K through 12 education system, that these particular issues are impacting, and they're often impacting them in a negative way. I mean, it's coming down to not just name calling, but it's coming down to punch throwing, sometimes bomb throwing. Not that we've seen that in the schools necessarily, but it is very contentious right now. And I would caution everybody, I would remind anybody out there in the public, anybody with kids in school particularly, to inform yourself about these things. Over the top of all of this, we've got the looming specter of the two dreaded initials, AI. What is this actually going to do? Is this friend or foe? I mean, is this savior or demon? What is it? I mean, nobody's been able to answer the question, and trust me, I've asked it an awful lot. So how is all of this going to impact what happens in the areas that we have a little bit of possibly jurisdiction and some say over, and offering consideration for? It's troubling. This has been a very, very, like I said an interesting month. What I actually meant to say, what has been a rather troubling month. And what with the heat and everything else, it's just the whole thing here in Bakersfield just seems, rife for something to not go well. So I would ask everybody to please pay particular attention, stay as informed as you possibly can about some of these issues, because these are top of the stack issues. These are very, very serious issues, no matter how they pencil out eventually. These are serious issues, and they're worthy of everybody's attention. And I know that often we don't have enough attention to expend because of everything else that's going on in our daily lives. We need to find out how. We need to start navigating this a little bit more, sure-footedly. And when you're talking to people, keeping as much emotion out of it as you can. And just suggesting to everybody, your neighbors, everybody else, anybody who's coming up to go ahead and run for a school board position or any position anywhere, pay attention to what's happening right now, because your vote does count. It's going to be really important. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a shill for the election division. I'm not trying to be. But I wanted to go ahead, that has been on my mind. It's been seriously on my mind. And like I'm saying, the people that are in this room right now are people who are concerned. They are involved. They are engaged. And that's what we need more of. So if whatever influence you have, I would ask that you exercise that pretty much just for the good of our community. Also, wanted to point something out. the last meeting we had, Joe Marcano had sent a letter to the KBOEIC, the Kern Board of Education Improvement Coalition, and asked them to respond by July 29th, advising whether or not the organization is willing to make changes to their name, to their acronym, to their website, things of nature, so that it would avoid confusion between KBOEIC and KCSOS, EIEIO. Yeah, I know, but I would like to go ahead and point out to this group that information, that letter was put out at the last meeting, and that the response was requested by July 29th. And Ms. Clanton, I believe you said that to your knowledge, so far, there's been no response? Okay.
Steve Sanders got that exact date.
Wonderful. Okay, good to hear. I'm sorry, we hadn't heard anything about it. I figured I'd go ahead and follow up on that. Great, so everything is copacetic? Marvelous. Okay, all right, that was it for me. I'm done with my little diatribe there, so, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Trustee Robinson. Trustee Eskew.
Okay, well, mine's a little more on the happier side, Jim.
I'm so glad. Trustee Eskew.
Sorry. So anyway, we've done some Christmas in July to make you guys a little happier for Open Door Network. Open Door Network is a nonprofit here in town. They provide emergency shelter, crisis hotline. They also do domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault. We love giving back to the nonprofits here in town, doing our service and making people happy in July. So we did that at the Beale Library. We also did it at the Southwest Library. We also did Christmas in July at the Wildest Dreams Antique Mall. So the kids get a real kick out of thinking Santa's on vacation. It's, a lot of fun to do stuff like that. Also, had the opportunity to go to the probation chief's retirement. That was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of old people that we worked with, a lot of new people that we don't know, but they also know us as Santa with their young kids. So it's kind of fun to give back to them too at the Christmas time. Went out to the National Night Out at Bakersfield Police Department. Again, had to go out and talk to the probation people. They got a new trailer, which is really cool for the community to their outreach. They get to go out and take this trailer. It's not a super large one, but they could get to go out into the community, talk to at-risk kids, promo for jobs. Their truck that pulls it, that is a wraparound. So KCSOS does a lot with probation in the community. Our board covers at-risk schools, our schools. So, we try to keep in contact with those people and reach out. Also, don't forget, I won't be here to do it, but Calm is having their ice cream safari this weekend. From 5 to 7:30, go support Calm and have ice cream, two of my favorite things. School starts tomorrow. Make sure to keep kids in prayer. Make sure you're not driving fast through the school zone. I know some of our outlining areas in the county have started school already, and some of our private schools have started, but I know some of our city schools start tomorrow, so please be aware of that. And let's pray protection over our children this year. Also, I do have a couple of concerning things. I know Dr. Mindermoro might be able to answer, but my phone was kind of blowing up today. There is some kind of training our teachers take, LGBTQ cultural training, competency training. What's that?
Every public school employee is required to have embedded training with their annual, forget what they're called, like the annual policies and everything. And part of it is to have an awareness that for the LGBTQ community.
Why are we, again, so to me, why are they special and all other kids are special?
It's encompass of all students, and then they're just identifying those students as well.
Well, we have low-income students, we have black students, we have brown students. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
if
just,
to me, it feels like they're wanting to be part of our community. Why do they have to be? It seems like they're targeting themselves. And then if a teacher doesn't want to take if they want to be, so the person that contacted me tried to be exempt for religious reasons and was denied that. So do our teachers at our school have to do that?
every public employee, every state employee in California is required to have that as part of their annual training.
And they can't take religious exempt?
No, I don't believe so. I believe it's just part of the training. It's not something that they have to sign and agree to. It's just incorporates into the annual trainings that they need to be sensitive and aware to certain groups within our school community.
Okay, well, she's worried that she's gonna lose her job.
Yeah, there's nothing that would prohibit or deny somebody their employment based on that.
So she shouldn't have to worry about that.
It depends on what district they're at. Every district operates and implements it differently. It's required to be embedded in their annual training. So
Okay.
some have actual training,
told her I
some
would
have online
ask.
documentation that they review, some have videos that they watch. It just depends on how the district chooses to.
I just think
Address
it's
it.
sad that we have to have that kind of training and separate because of a culture. That's just my opinion. So, that's it. I hope everyone has a good school year.
Thank you, Trustee Eskew. Trustee Taus?
Nothing major to report, other than I had a business lunch out today at a place that is normally quite busy, and it was empty. And I thought, well, it's all those teachers that are working in their classrooms. And tomorrow I'm going to go back because I have a feeling I'm going to find all the parents at the cafe because they will have turned their children over to our schools for the most part. So I just want to wish everybody a great start to the school year and hope all goes well and that everybody is just excited to see what positive roles our students can take on and our teachers can give to our kids. So that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Little?
I echo everybody's sentiments. Welcome back to school, and I hope that everybody has the best year yet. With all the different things that are coming down the pike, and education being so much more, so many more issues that we didn't used to have to deal with. So I hope everybody navigates them well. And as far as the absenteeism, I know our district has been working on that, and we have made strides on that, and I think some of it was due to COVID. And so we are gaining back the absentee problem. So I know we work on that. I know it's an issue. So I wanted to address that as well. Thank you for mentioning the Dream Center, Janine. That's an issue near and dear to my heart. I love those kids. I constantly donate things over there. I've worked with I actually did social work there for quite a while, and they do a fantastic job with those kids, and they just tear at my heart constantly when I'm over there. So, but anytime I'm over there, it's nice to go see everybody. So thank you for mentioning that. You know, our teachers and our staff, they're up for a lot of different issues and a lot of different things on how schools operate nowadays. And I've seen a lot of advertisements for special ed teachers. And I'm wondering how we're doing with that and if we have a lot of vacancies this year.
Statewide special education is a hard to find position. Many districts operate on interns or less than intern ready teachers, where they're just entering into a teaching preparation program and they're getting hired to be a special education teacher. We're in that same boat. Kern County has a huge void of special education. People get into education and then they move into a general ed classroom setting right after that. So we are working on it. Actually, one of the career pathways that we're working on is trying to close that niche and trying to find students that are interested in the high school level and try to work with them and make them want to go into that trajectory into special education. But yeah, it's a statewide issue for sure.
Yeah, that's a hard one. It's a difficult subject to work on. Really is. And then also with schools, I know when I was younger and even when my kids were going to school, that all schools started and ended at the same time. So is it arbitrarily, who gets to decide when children go back to school and when school starts and ends? Because it's so hard on our parents and, trying to navigate all of that. So who gets to decide that?
Every school board, local school board, gets to decide when their schools start and end. The only mandate they have in California is they must go 180 days. So however they total that is up to each school board. So some schools will start early so that they could take 3 weeks off at Christmas or 4 weeks off at Christmas. Some take 2 weeks off at Thanksgiving. Some take a October break. Some districts go 180 days but year round to accommodate other days off. So it's really up to the local board and the local area that impacts it. But yeah, the days of everyone starts on the same day and ends on the same day is
It's
far from
no
that.
longer here. Do we go more than 180 days?
No.
No,
Every district goes 180.
only 180.
Mhm. They only have more than 180 days if they have to make up any days for school closure that does not get excused by the state.
Okay. All right. Thank you for those answers. And I have nothing further, Ms. President.
Thank you, Trustee Little. Trustee Gonzalez?
I have no report.
Oh, and I did have one more thing. I always do that. Kernville has their annual fall festival coming up on, I think it's October 21st, something like that. So make sure you go to that. It's always a great event.
Thank you. Do I go next? Okay. This has been fun and a learning curve for me to be sitting president today. So thank you for your patience with me. And I'm looking forward to the campaign that I've already started for Area 7 and hoping to win. And then I'm up for presidency in 2027. So this is good practice for me. And I just wanted to let everybody know on August 15th and 16th, this weekend, is the Mountain Festival up in Tehachapi. And it's a fun time with a parade and things in the park, food and music, and lots of stuff for kids, lots of, yes, Trustee Eskew is saying Thursday is the last farmer's market. We have a great one. Thursday from 4 to 7 up there downtown on Green Street. Yep, it's a good one. So thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Minderborough.
Thank you. Just a couple of items. Just a reminder, school openings, as was already mentioned, we had some start in July, we had some start at the beginning of August, and the majority of them will start tomorrow with a few districts that will open on Thursday. And so then everyone's up and running, nobody's after that. So the 180 days will start.
Okay.
Also want to let you know, lines with that is we are seeing declining enrollment in Kern County. This is the third year in a row that we are seeing declining enrollment.
For all districts?
For majority of districts in Kern County.
Okay.
Some of our larger districts are up. We will get updates once all schools are fully open, and I'll bring that back to you in the July. Oh boy, I'm really off. The September board meeting, I will bring updates to you if there's any huge areas of impact. But as a county, we have decreased each year for the last 3 years. We are up in housing and people moving in, but they're moving in without children. So, and many of the children, young adults are not having kids at this time. So we're seeing kind of an influx of enrollment throughout our districts.
Question, Dr. Mandenborough?
Yeah.
The decline in enrollment across the district, does that include figures for the charter schools?
No, most of our charters are either flat or increasing. As Kat mentioned today, they're increasing. Charters are not necessarily the reasons why we have districts that are declining. There's other reasons. Most of those families are moving out of state.
What about homeschool? What about homeschool?
Valley Oaks has seen a slight increase, but again, it's more for specialized purposes. It's not anything from the regular everyday schools. It's more specialized schedules, those type of things for families. We're seeing declines mainly due to people moving out of the state. They're not even moving to other areas of the state. They're moving completely out of the state. The state as a whole has severe decline in enrollment.
Imagine my surprise.
Ms. President,
Yes, Trustee
I would,
Little.
I would also like to thank you for inviting Harmony and her presentation, and so that was a joy to have her come. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
The last item I had was asked a couple of board meetings ago in regards to the new state superintendent, how it's going to be looking as it starts in January 1. As you know, there was a proposal by the governor to split the state superintendent from it's still being an elected position, but remove the day-to-day authorization and authority over the California Department of Ed. It had passed and it was signed into law. So starting January 1, it will create a new position in the education as an education commissioner. This person will be appointed by the governor. There's some questions in regards to, is it going to be the new governor or current governor? That hasn't been clarified at this point. We had anticipated it'll be the new governor since that position does not start till January 1. It does reduce the authority of the state superintendent. It removes them from the role as chief executive officer of the CDE. It will end the elected direct control over the day-to-day operations of the personnel implementation functions of the Department of Ed. It would make the state superintendent a more independent policy advocate, as they said was the intent of that position.
What does that mean?
They would be the one who would be promoting and supporting all educational policies in the state of California based on either federal or local or state mandates. So if the Department of Education or School Board of Education implements or adopts a new policy, then the state superintendent is supposed to be advocating and working with and supporting districts in regards to that.
Okay.
There are also some changes to the State Board of Education. It will move them to from an 11 board member to a 13 board membership. The state superintendent will now have voting authority. Right now, the state superintendent does not have any voting authority. They will now be a member of that board and would be able to do that. It would add a new member appointed by the Senate and one member appointed by the Assembly to the new State Board of Education component. Currently, all members of the board are at the luxury of the governor. So once the governor comes in, they can replace the entire board, part of the board, however they see fit. They will still have that authority, except for now there'll be 3 spots that are designated, one from the Assembly, one from Senate, and then the state superintendent. The responsibility of this new education commissioner, as they're going to be called, will be leading the Department of Education on a daily basis. They will assume all executive and administrative functions that were currently under the state superintendent. They will be direct linked to the governor and would be working for the governor at this point in time. They would implement all state education policy, everything that is approved by the State Board of Education. They will ensure they gets appointed and work through with the districts. State superintendent's job is to advocate. They will manage state education programs. All the programs that come in, whether state or federal, they will oversee that. They will serve as the governor's executive person. They will be appointed by them, serve at the pleasure of the governor, and would work directly in line with the governor's desires. They will also act as the executive officer of the State Board of Education, so they would be handling the duties historically performed by the state superintendent since they're moving into a voting position at this time. So that's how the overview of the 2 positions. I'm sure there's going to be some more clarity, especially once January hits. And whoever the new governor is will also start clarifying what those roles will be as well.
So a quick question about that. The commissioner is appointed
Yes,
and does not need to be an elected official.
correct. It would be an appointed position. The desire, according to the governor and the study that he's taking this from, is that the education commissioner would be one who's from the educational world. They're stating that the previous few state superintendents had no school knowledge, school experience. They put Torkelson into that category. Torkelson was a teacher on leave, went to the legislature, and then from legislature went to the state superintendent. So he had a little experience of education. They were negating that component, but they said the last few had none. So the current state superintendent went from legislature straight to the state superintendent position and had no knowledge according to the reports of day-to-day. So the education commissioner would be somebody who is from the educational field, whoever the governor decides that would be.
That's a qualification, is that what you're
That's
saying?
a qualification that they would have to be
Interesting.
from the education side. So be a principal, superintendent, a teacher, anyone who has education understanding and experience, it would be the main criteria for this position.
So who is in charge of educational codes and writing those and reviewing those?
A state board of education would implement and carry out any educational codes that are approved by the state legislature and Senate. So anything that is ed code driven has to be approved by the legislature and then signed off by the governor. And then it goes to the state board of education. Some policies will come from the state board of education to the legislature for approval. So it's a hand-in-hand concept. State board of education is all appointees of the governor.
So just a point of clarification, a little bit earlier when we were talking about the LGBTQ training that teachers have been mandated by the state to go through. I was a little bit unclear because you did mention to Trustee Eskew that whatever happened to any teacher and how they decided to go ahead and deal with that would be dealt with at the specific district level, right? Like Kern High School District, the rest of it.
Yeah, every district carries out those trainings differently. Some are all on computers, some they have to attend an actual in-person training in a room, trained.
And this
It
is
just
status,
depends.
this is status quo pretty much, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
This
district
is-
by district?
Yeah.
So essentially, we would be faced with the same situation when we have a commissar of education who is handing down mandates. Then it's going to be up to the discretion of the various boards whom have to go ahead and consider those.
No, it has to be ed code driven, law driven, and signed off. So it's not, the commissioner can't just arbitrarily say, this is a training they have to take, or this is not a training they have to take. It has to be all put through state policies and procedures and end up being an ed code. So all these policies or trainings are all within ed code. So according to a specific ed code, employees have to be trained on X, Y, and Z. According to this ed code, everyone has to do X, Y, and Z. So everything's tied to an ed code of some kind or a law. That's may not be ed code driven, but may be law driven. It's not something that can be created by just a commissioner signing something saying, I want all people to do this or not do this.
Well, the commissar has the final say though, right? Before it's handed down?
No, once it's state approved and signed into law, then everyone has to comply with it. Nobody gets to say yay or nay at that point.
And it's the board that gets to decide ed code.
No, the board is required to carry out the ed code. So whatever the ed code stipulates, the board has to ensure that the policies in that district are followed.
That makes sense. And the ed code comes from, remind me again?
From the state of California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'll go through the
Okay,
legislature
okay.
process, and then once it's signed into law,
I see,
it will
okay.
either be a law by itself, or they'll go into current ed code or create new ed code that would
Got it.
define it. So a lot of times, particularly in education, the majority of policies and procedures and mandates that we have to follow are somewhere embedded into an ed code. So they'll
Right,
say, according to
okay.
ed code X, Y, and Z, you now have to do X, Y, and Z. So like example is, there's a new maternity leave law that just went into place. It was built into ed code, built into personal leave code, and it allows people that have difficulty with pregnancies to have 14 weeks off paid leave. It previously was 12 weeks, so it got increased and that's embedded into ed code. So we have to follow that ed code to ensure that it's being carried out correctly.
Wow, that was great information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was horrible information.
Yeah.
Well, no, we needed to know that.
Yes.
A lot of power to the governor. I mean, sounds like he's, or whoever's governor next will have a lot of power. Anything else? Okay, thank you. So moving on to item 7.1, items to be considered for the next agenda. Anyone have anything they want to bring?
I don't have an item. I just have a question regarding the calendar, the fall board meeting date, the fall. Yeah, do you have a
Oh.
date for that so I can throw it in my calendar? It's October, right?
Already?
I mean, it's only August, but I need to get it on my
It
calendar.
happens fast.
now.
It does.
Sorry, Meryl, it might have been too early.
October 26th,
26th.
and it'll be at the
of
Bell Tower
October.
Plaza.
Oh, good, nice,
Bell?
nice.
All right, then.
At the Bell Tower Plaza. We're gonna make everyone be able to fit.
Oh, we'll have,
We're gonna be
plenty
very
of room.
creative in how we do it.
we'll have plenty of room.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah, I
fun.
wanna do something.
I like that idea.
What do you want to
Thank
do,
you.
Julie?
Yeah, what do you want to do? Let's do it.
No, I just meant give me a job.
Shake hands at the door or something? Welcome, everyone.
We should
Okay.
be,
Let's do a musical.
There you
I
go.
wasn't going that far.
We should have Jim do the music.
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm not the only one gonna be carrying this.
You don't want me to sing, huh?
Do what?
We'll let the KCSBA board decide.
meeting
Do we have
adjourned,
any-
Miss President.
Do we have any?
Oh, go
I'll
ahead.
catch it next time. We're good. Thank you.
Anything else that we need to add to the next agenda or anything? Okay. Item 8.1 says, unless otherwise posted, the next regularly scheduled meeting will be on September 8th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Item 8.2, time of adjournment is 7:42 p.m. And I don't have a gavel, but I would do that. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.